The Pure Land was massive and spacious, clean and tranquil. It felt like an independent world that was completely separate from the abyss, forever free from contaminants and dust. Anyone would conduct themselves with the utmost caution and respect in this world. But clearly, Hua Kaylee was an exception. Hopping, skipping, and jumping across the Pure Land with a sunny smile on her face, she was extraordinarily familiar with every corner of this world. She could even put a name to most of the Abyssal Knights and Pure Land Divine Guards she ran into. The Abyssal Knights and Pure Land Divine Guards treated her just as respectfully. Some even broke into smiles. No one tried to stop her or question her about her intention or destination. They passed through another spacious area when suddenly the world turned bright, colorful, and full of flora. It was as if they had entered an immortal realm in an immortal realm. The elemental aura in the Pure Land was pretty rich to begin with, but now it had become several times thicker as soon as they entered this place. Specifically, it was the elements of fire, thunder, and wind that became richer. Yun Qi could sense an unusual, somewhat out-of-place cold air as well. There were a few small houses amidst the jungle of plants. It looked like a little slice of hidden paradise. It was too bad that this world was completely devoid of any beasts or insects. "Is this where High Priest Ling Xian is staying?" Yun Qi asked while looking straight ahead. Hua Kaylee exclaimed in surprise. "You're incredible, big brother Yun. I didn't think you would figure it out immediately on your first visit." It was at this moment the space ahead of them rippled, and a woman stepped out from behind a tree and greeted them with a smile. "You're here, little Kaylee." The woman was wearing a plain, long white shirt with spots of light pink plum petals. Her skin was fair and smooth, and her features were such that it was difficult to identify her true age. Her long hair was tied up using a simple ribbon, and her gaze was gentle, refined, and calm. She resembled an ascetic who had long secluded themselves in the mountains and stayed away from all mortal affairs. Or at least, she would have, if not for the fact that the spiritual pressure she was giving off was absolutely terrifying. "Aunt Su Shang," Hua Kaylee let out an affectionate cry and strode up to her immediately. When she got close, she sensed the cold energy and turned serious. "This cold energy is Grandma Ling Xian." "Yes," the woman nodded. "Master knew that you were coming and was very much looking forward to meeting you again, but alas, her old illness relapsed." Once she finished explaining what happened, the woman looked at Yun Qi and asked, "And who is this?" Yun Qi stepped forward and saluted her respectfully. "Yun Qi of the Dreamweaver Kingdom of God greets Senior Su Shang." He could not help a violent tremor in his heart when he heard Hua Kaylee calling out the woman's name. It was because Aunt Su Shang was one of the 4 strongest divine guards of the Pure Land below the true gods of the Abyss, and the divine attendant of High Priest Ling Xian. Looking at her appearance alone, no one would think that she was such a terrifying existence. "Yun Qi!" Divine attendant Su Shang let out a small exclamation of surprise before nodding. "I see you are the lost son who returned to the Dreamweaver Kingdom of God, Meng Jianyuan. You are as handsome and impressive-looking as the rumors claim you to be. Setting aside the fact that you have perfect divine essence, your appearance alone puts you far above your brother, Meng Jiangxi." Her words were shockingly direct considering that she was talking about the divine sons of a kingdom of God. Yun Qi replied evenly, "You flatter me, Senior. I came today in the hope that divine daughter Kaylee's recommendation would be enough to earn me a short meeting with High Priest Ling Xian." Su Shang's smile remained light and indifferent. "Apologies, young Master Yuan, but my master is inconvenienced right now." It's fine, Hua Kaylee hurriedly interrupted. "We shan't disturb her then. We'll come and visit Grandma Ling Xian when she's better." Yun Qi did not step away, however. He produced a small jade box and said, "In that case, this is the meeting gift this junior has specifically prepared for High Priest Ling Xian before coming to the Pure Land. I ask that you accept it on behalf of her, Senior Su Shang." "Huh." Hua Kaylee looked surprised. She did not think that Yun Qi had prepared a gift for High Priest Ling Xian. "You're welcome, but there is no need," Su Shang said indifferently. "Master does not involve herself with mortal affairs, nor does she accept mortal gifts. However, I will pass on your kind regards to her." Hua Kaylee reached out, grabbed Yun Qi's gift box, and shoved it into divine attendant Su Shang's hands by force. She said mischievously, "Aunt Su Shang, this is a gift Big Brother Yun purposely prepared for Grandma Ling Xian. He must have spent a lot of effort preparing it. Grandma Ling Xian is so kind, so I'm sure she couldn't bear to reject it. Please accept it on Grandma Ling Xian's behalf, please." Su Shang looked at the box that was forcefully shoved into her hands and shook her head smilingly in helpless indulgence. Very well. If you have the time, you may take young Master Yun to the Ling Xian Rainbow Cloud Realm for a visit. Just remember not to come too close to this place, okay? It's fine. I would not want to disturb Grandma Ling Xian. Hua Kaylee bowed daintily. We'll be taking our leave now, Aunt Su Shang. We'll come see you after we're done meeting Uncle Abyssal Monarch. After Yun Chi and Hua Kaylee left, Divine Attendant Su Shang tilted her head thoughtfully as she recalled Hua Kaylee's obviously unusual gaze and words. As she thought, she casually opened the jade box she just received. Spiritual energy seeped out of the box, and her indifferent expression stiffened for a moment. She immediately lifted the box and stared at its contents, eyes coloring red from the light emitted by the gift and dilating rapidly from excitement and disbelief. This is... She immediately turned around and made a beeline for the icy barrier she was guarding. I heard from the dreamless Divine Regent that Divine Priest Ling Xian often suffered from elemental backlashes due to the unusual constitution she was born with. When Divine Attendant Su Shang said that her old illness relapsed, is she referring to that? Yes, Hua Kaylee nodded with clear worry. Not only that, the backlashes seem to be happening more and more frequently. The last time it happened was right before I left the Pure Land a little over 4 years ago. She cast a worried look behind her back briefly before saying softly, I once saw Grandma Ling Xian relapsing with my own eyes, and it was truly terrifying. I could not believe she could make such a painful face considering how strong she is. She once told me that a long lifespan might be the desire of countless living beings, but to her, it was nothing more than extended torture. However, she can't die yet because someone needs her. Yun Chi? Hua Kaylee sighed quietly. Barring exceptional circumstances, Grandma Ling Xian almost never leaves the Pure Land. She even said that she might be a noble and powerful high priest in everyone's eyes, but she is really just a perpetually sick bird trapped inside a cage. Grandma Ling Xian is so gentle and kind. Why must she suffer such pain for so long? Yun Chi hummed. The reason she couldn't leave the Pure Land, is it because she is really a beast? Huh, Hua Kaylee looked surprised. You knew Big Brother Yun? She then moved closer to Yun Chi and lowered her voice. You mustn't say it outside, okay? You especially mustn't mention it in front of Grandma Ling Xian. She is extremely disturbed by it. Why's that? Yun Chi was puzzled. She was the descendant of an ancient god. Pride toward her own origin must be engraved to her blood and bone. Besides, she was a high priest serving the Abyssal Monarch and a supreme existence that existed above all others except one. It would far make sense if she were exceedingly proud and considered all other beings beside herself, her peers, and the Abyssal Monarch to be ants. But to be disturbed by her own origins, that made no sense. Hua Kaylee looked left and right and hesitated for a moment. However, she ultimately chose to stay quiet and whispered, I'll tell you in secret after we're out of the Pure Land. I see. Very well. It was at this moment Yun Chi suddenly stopped in his tracks. Hua Kaylee followed suit and looked at him in confusion. Then Yun Chi abruptly stepped forward and closed the distance they had purposely maintained until now in an instant. They were so close that they could feel each other's warm breath. Big Brother Yun! Hua Kaylee's breathing was thrown into disarray immediately, but she unwisely did not step away. Yun Chi looked down, his soft, warm gaze falling into Hua Kaylee's eyes. Everything can wait until after we leave the Pure Land, but there is a gift that I have prepared for 3 years, and I cannot wait to give it to you. What? What is it? They were so very close, and he was showering her with a voice and look that he afforded her and only her. It was undoubtedly stirring the emotions and longing she had suppressed for 3 years and causing her heartbeat to race faster and faster. She was slowly but surely losing her sanity. Why don't you close your eyes first? Yun Chi said in a mysterious voice and with just the right dose of nervousness. Hua Kaylee slowly closed her eyes as he told her to, her fair face full of expectation. No, this isn't enough. I want you to withdraw your spiritual perception completely as well. You're not allowed to probe the gift in secret. The mystery and nervousness in Yun Chi's voice grew even stronger. I did not, she pouted, but she obediently withdrew all of her spiritual perception and slightly bent her head backward. Surely this is enough. Mystery begets expectation. Even if she hadn't withdrawn her spiritual perception, Hua Kaylee's focus was more or less completely on her rapidly beating heart and Yun Chi's breathing. There was nothing else. Yun Chi's breaths grew closer and closer. She could feel his warmth touching her forehead, sliding down to her cheeks, and finally landing lightly on her dainty lips. She sneakily opened her eyes just a tad and found Yun Qi staring right back at her with a mischievous smile on his face. "Did you receive it?" Yun Qi smirked triumphantly and mischievously. "The thoughts and wishes I've collected for 3 years straight." The girl opened her eyes completely, but there wasn't a sliver of disappointment or frustration on her face whatsoever. Suddenly, she stepped forward, wrapped her arms around his neck, and kissed him back strongly. She even bit his bottom lip lightly with her dainty teeth so that he would not be able to break away from the kiss easily. A while later, she finally let go and pulled away from him. Her cheeks were dyed pink, but she declared in a victorious voice, "See, I'm the one who missed you more." The young woman was so absorbed in romanticism and fantasy that she did not notice that 2 blurry silhouettes had appeared in the distance and were walking straight toward them. "Brother Jiaji, you came here immediately instead of visiting the Heaven Breaker Kingdom of God's accommodation. Are you that sure that the Rainbow Glass Divine Daughter is here?" Diane Sancy, 3 thoughts, asked excitedly while looking left and right, admiring the Pure Land's beauty. Out of everyone among the younger generation, Diane Sancy was the most outstanding prince of the boundless kingdom of God besides Diane Jiaji himself. He wasn't even 180 years old, but he was already a level 3 divine extinction realm profound practitioner. Strictly speaking, he was better than Diane Jiaji when the divine sun was his age. He had reached the initial stages of the boundless manifestation art as well. Diane Sancy was still young, and he had never gone through the terrible life experiences Diane Jiaji had. Diane Sancy respected and admired Diane Jiaji deeply. Diane Jiaji was smiling with obvious cheer as well. Kaylee always visits High Priest Ling Xian as soon as she is able after arriving at the Pure Land. There's no reason she would make an exception this time. Diane Sancy sighed. Although you and the Rainbow Glass Divine Daughter spend more time apart than you do together, you still know her as well as the back of your hand. She is truly lucky to have a man like you. No, you got it the other way around. But Diane Jiaji shook his head smilingly. I'm the one who was lucky from the beginning until the end. If Kaylee did not exist, I would not be who I am today. Besides, it's not really good luck to be admired by someone. The great luck of a lifetime is finding someone you are willing to give up everything for. Diane Sancy nodded. I will remember everything you say, Brother Jiaji. Still, I don't believe there exists a woman in this world who will make me wholeheartedly treat her the way you treat the Rainbow Glass Divine Daughter. Ha 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 ha, Diane Jiaji laughed. You're still young. I thought the exact same thing when I was your age. Diane Sancy looked expectant. I haven't had the honor of meeting the Rainbow Glass Divine Daughter in person, but I have seen all the images and projections you have of her. She truly is gorgeous like no other. I wonder if meeting her in person will change that impression. Letter 1D627, letter 1D4C7, letter 212F, letter 1D452, letter 1D4CC, letter 1D452. Letter 1D4B8, letter 2134, letter 1D4C2. It will. You will discover that no portrait or image can measure up to even 1/10,000th of the real person. Diane Jiaji chuckled. When you meet her, you will truly understand what it means to fall. For his voice suddenly slowed down until it became completely stuck inside his throat. His footsteps had come to a complete standstill as well. Diane Sancy followed suit and was just about to ask what happened when he saw 2 silhouettes not far ahead of them. The 2 silhouettes were hugging each other and looking into each other's eyes. They were so affected by their feelings that they seemed to have forgotten that they were in the supreme Pure Land. The man was unbelievably handsome, so much so that, in terms of appearance alone, he was actually the better of Diane Jiaji. As for the woman, her beauty and radiance were such that even the Pure Land was just a foil to her. The woman was staring at the man before her, and only him. It was as if she could not see anyone else's silhouette besides his. Diane Sancy's eyes widened into saucers as astonishment filled him. It was because the woman's appearance clearly belonged to... No, it can't be. He hurriedly turned to look at Diane Jiaji only to discover that his older brother's face had turned deathly white. His hands were clenched and his whole body was trembling uncontrollably. His eyes were filled with gentleness earlier, but now they were trembling so much that they threatened to shatter into pieces. His dilating pupils had nearly spread across the entire eyeballs as well. Brother Jiaji? Diane Sancy's throat suddenly turned a little dry. His soft cry seemingly drew Diane Jiaji out of the nightmare he was trapped in. He slowly, painstakingly, pulled his gaze away and closed his eyes for a moment. When he reopened them, they continued to shake with indescribable pain. He was clenching his fists with all his might, but it still could not stop the tremblings that were coming from the bottom of his soul. "We're leaving," he uttered with a shockingly dry voice. He did not dare to look in that direction even a little. "Brother Giuggi," Diane Sansi stepped forward and grabbed Diane Giuggi's trembling arm. "Is that woman, is she? Could she be? Could she really be?" "We're leaving." Diane Giuggi's voice grew even drier, though it was very soft, as if he was afraid of alerting the distant figures to their presence, even if his heart and soul were threatening to shatter on the spot. At this point, Diane Sansi could not deceive himself even if he wanted to. He furrowed his brow and found a hot rage growing inside his heart. "How dare she? How dare she? You love her so much, your engagement was bestowed by the abyssal monarch himself, and she dares. She dares to treat you like this. No, we need to." A hand grabbed his shoulder with barely suppressed rage and aura. "Will you disobey me?" Diane Sansi had never seen such a face or heard such a voice from Diane Giuggi. "Forget what you just saw. Do not speak of it to anyone. Especially father, do you understand?" Diane Sansi stared at Diane Giuggi's face. The face that was still contorting uncontrollably despite his best attempts to wrestle his reaction for a long while before he finally nodded. "I've got it. Don't worry, Brother Giuggi. I won't speak of this to anyone." Diane Giuggi's chest heaved up and down once before he let out a long, shuddering breath. Then he grabbed Diane Sansi, suppressed his aura, and soundlessly departed the area. His footsteps had never felt this heavy, not even when he was drowning at the bottom of the mud. It wasn't until they were far, far away that Yun Chi finally let go of Hua Kaylee. The corner of his eyes brushed the space Diane Gianji appeared a moment ago for an instant before he looked away. The small but warm smile on his face never faltered even a little. "Say, what if someone from the Pure Land saw us just now?" "HMPH, says the guy who initiated it in the first place." Hua Kaylee's finger drew a couple of circles in Yun Chi's palm before she finally, reluctantly, let go of him. She stepped 3 steps away from him before saying, "Grandma Ling Xian's immortal realm is the quietest place in the Pure Land, and no guards are posted here, so your worries are unfounded. Still, it's best if we don't act like this anywhere else. Otherwise, I'm afraid we will disrupt Father and the dreamless Divine Regent's arrangements." "Got it," Yun Chi replied with a straight face. "I swear to stay at least 3 steps away from you. Come, there's one more place I'd like to take you to. I'm sure he will adore you." The corners of Hua Kaylee's lips curled up a little into a mysterious smirk.